Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Generation Gap podcast. My name is Lunchbox,
And I'm Gleek.
and it's our 10th episode.
Yeah, it is, man.
And
I can't believe we actually stuck with it.
holy shit! Well, I hate to mention the fact that we recorded fucking anything last night because it was just
It was fucking awful.
it was such a clusterfuck. I think we just shat something out real quick and was just like, fuck it.
Oh, yeah.
So
Yeah, that was, I don't know what the fuck. I haven't even went back and listened to it because it was just garbage.
I just throw file over to 13 and say, just screw it.
Just two drunken fucking idiots. You know what I mean? Just blah, 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 blah.
This shit's coming out of my mouth.
Exactly. The motherfucking gump ape doing fucking Hamlet's what that is.
To
be or not to be.
Romeo and this one, right? Romeo?
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 Are you under this tree, Romeo?
Are you under this log, Romeo?
No, those are grubs.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
I think this one's gonna go, like what we talked about earlier. I wanted to go in kind of a weirder route than what we normally do, considering that we go anywhere close to normal.
Yeah.
But we had Sick Nasty pretty much bail out because he's a cheap fucker. Which I'm gonna.
I told you he was Snuffleupagus. That so much doesn't exist. He doesn't exist. He's not real. Until I see him physically.
If he's like an imaginary friend of mine, I'm
Yeah.
really gonna be like fucked in the head because like who did I talk to all high school with?
Exactly. Who was in those pictures?
Like it's gonna be like Shutter Island, and I'm like, I'm the criminal, and
That's why the good dude was giving you that funny
Spoilers.
look in the photograph. He was like, "Who the fuck is this white guy? And what the fuck is he doing taking my picture? I'm trying to eat you, bastard." You know the one him sitting across the booth from you.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that day was super depressed.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Well, I'm telling you, until I see him, he's the Gump Ape.
He's
the mythical Gump Ape, and he doesn't exist until I see him.
well, the Gump Ape went on several adventures.
Oh, yeah, last night? I think we did. I think it was one of the things we were babbling about.
I don't remember. Were we getting that?
Fuck, I don't remember most of it at all. I'm scared to go back and listen to it.
I am too, because I know we just like fucking like right from the very beginning. It was like we're starting off on the wrong fucking foot. Like
Yeah.
like if we do start on the wrong foot, we go like super lighthearted with it.
Oh, we went full fucking retarded, man.
Dark quick. I was like,
Yeah. 10 seconds in, and we're talking heat death of the universe. Yeah. But yeah, we figured we'd do something a bit different. Something we haven't done yet. We want to talk about conspiracy theories.
Yeah.
Now hold the fuck up. All you dumbasses that just knee jerk and hit yourself in the face.
It's like we don't want to. Steel beams cannot melt jet fuel.
Yeah, well, Anyway, we thought what we'd talk about is some of the most interesting conspiracy theories we've ever heard. And before we start, I really want to get this established. There's a lot of people that seem to not understand the idea that if you talk about something, if you read something, if you entertain the idea, that does not mean you automatically fucking believe it.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people that cannot help but think if you bring it up, you somehow fucking believe it.
That it's just fucking lost on that is your belief.
Yeah.
And it's set in concrete, and you're just a fucking wackadoo for whatever you think.
Yeah.
And
So, I want everybody to take their tinfoil hat bullshit, wad it up real tight, cram it in their ass, and just have an open fucking mind. Look at it the way that we're going to present some of this stuff. For the story.
Yeah.
It's imagine the same reason that a lot of you used to sit down with the National Enquirer or the Weekly World News while you're taking a shit and you read about how the Bat Boy has escaped for the 14th time.
It's the 14,000th time.
Which I actually remember reading the very first Bat Boy. Yeah. Should have kept the fucking thing. But yeah, like I said, just think of this stuff. See, a lot of this stuff is interesting on, like I said, the story level. It's important, some of it too. Because, like, if you have 1,000 bullshit fucking conspiracy theories, right?
Yeah.
The rules of probability says there's a sliver of truth in at least one of those fucking stories.
And let's put everything in the context here.
Yeah.
There's people that still believe that the Earth is flat.
Oh yeah, my grandfather actually believed it.
That's fucking, see, to most people that's fucking crazy.
It is fucking
or
nuts.
It's just turtles all the way down.
Well, my grandfather believed that the world was flat, and he also believed that it had four corners.
Instead of the disc shape, like
it
with
was
the
square.
flat earthers.
Yeah, it was a fucking square.
Like on a map of the world.
A flat fucking square, and that's what the Earth was. I'm not fucking playing, dude. He believed that.
That's craziness.
Yep. What was really nuts was him telling me that it was in the Bible. And when I told him, I was like, Grandpa, I've read that fucking book. It's not in the Bible. You fucking back-talking me, boy?
Well, it's weird to think about. Those islands that are off the coast of Spain that are a little ways out.
Mm-hmm.
I can't remember the name of them. But they used to think that after you go past,
Mm-hmm.
The Strait of Gibraltar, you were close to the edge.
Here there be dragons.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, he was absolutely certain of it, man. I mean, there was no doubt in his mind the Earth was fucking flat, had four corners, and it was a very biblical fucking world. I mean, he operated on that level. It just, he's the one that first brought up the whole thing to me, and this was 1980. I was like 6-year-old when he told me that we never went to the moon. Yeah, and I was like, well, what makes you say that? And he said, because I saw a movie one time, boy, and they went to the damn moon. Hollywood can do anything. Yeah.
Was he talking about that one where
the Heinlein story?
Yeah. I was thinking about the 20s or the 30s film.
Destination Moon, that's what I'm thinking.
That had like the guy with all the cream makeup on his face.
Oh, and they shoot the bullet up into his eye?
Yeah.
Yeah. It was one of like H.G. Wells or something.
Yeah.
They used the big cannon to shoot the shell, and yeah.
They shot the old man in the moon.
Well, no, he was talking about he'd seen like Destination Moon. And if you've ever seen Destination Moon, for the time period, it's a damn scientific movie. I mean...
Well, if we're going to start with talking about the moon, and if we...
Well, no, we need to get into that because I got some doozies on that one.
Yeah, that's some doozies. I was thinking about starting out with the whole Kubrick idea that he was the one that faked the moon landing.
Ooh. You just want to dive right off the fucking pier, don't you?
Just right off the deep end? Well, I don't know. It kind of just led to that, so...
Well, wait, the whole thing about him, it just boils down to that he did 2001 as a practice run, to get his technique down.
Well, they first came to him after Dr. Strangelove, because they would not let him around the B-52 bombers, and they wouldn't let him on the inside to kind of...
Yeah, but he figured out what they look like based on publicly released stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so he did all of this. The U.S. government saw it and was like, motherfucker.
Yeah.
And was like, for you to not be thrown in prison for treason.
For whatever reason we make up.
Yeah, you have to help us with this just in case with the Apollo mission, shit hits the fan.
Yeah. And see, that's one of the big stories that people seem to forget. There's this concept that we did go to the moon, and I believe, we most likely, 99.99% probably went to the fucking moon. I wasn't there physically, so I can't 100% say yes to anything. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Can you prove the Wright brothers actually flew that airplane?
No.
No, you can't. But the idea was that he was to fake some stuff just in case we had failed.
Yeah. Just to kind of even though throw that in the face of the Russians.
Yeah. And that once we succeeded, they had this idea well, fuck, we've got some footage. Let's fucking use it.
Yeah.
Why waste this stuff? And that's one of the reasons why shit's been mixed up, and there's so many reasons. Yeah, people can say, hey, wait a minute, what about this or what about that? And,
And then the people that tear over the photos, where you can see the I forgot what the line is called, where it's like where it's used, where you can tell clear foreground and then kind of blurry background.
Oh yeah,
like the monkey scene in 2001 where he's beating on
where he used the green screens and all that.
Yeah. And then they're like, here's this line on the moon in these photos. And
yeah. No, see, that's the thing. I've been looking at this shit for so long. I think that we're in an age, especially now, when people can fake anything.
Oh, yeah.
And
I
think
look at all the fake jizz pictures that they're
yeah. There's your proof in court. And as you see, sir,
the jizz looks real. But here's the original photograph.
If the spunk don't exist, you must acquit. Yeah, but I mean, we do live in an age now, though, that trolls, if they took their fucking time, could damn near fake anything.
Yeah, like that makes me think. China could do like a fake, like we're gonna put a man on Mars, and then fucking fake the entire thing and then believe it.
There was a film. See, people come up with this idea originally, man. Like as soon as we landed on the moon, there was people saying bullshit.
Bullshit. What about all the radiation?
Oh yeah, the Van Allen belt bullshit. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
See, that's what my grandmother thinks, that we never landed on the moon.
Because the radiation.
Yeah.
Like
radiation and the flag. She was like, yeah, the whole flag thing is another answer. I was like, well, they have to set it up somehow. Like that's gonna be.
There's a thing called Mythbusters, Grandma, and you've got to watch this episode, because they show you how that shit can happen. It's just, it's got to do with vibration.
It's fabric too. Like, you fucking push on it. Well, they could have made it look like, it's like, well, let's make it look like the flag's waving. And fucking.
Yeah, if you watch when he's putting it in place, he's wobbling it all over the place.
Yeah.
It's got lots of energy built up in it. It's just going to keep fucking moving, you know? Every little vibration of them bouncing on the ground near it, it's going to just travel right up to it and shake it, you know?
Yeah. I was like...
It's still, that stuff's interesting. I mean, it's entertaining as fuck.
Yeah.
You know? Some of the craziest ones I've heard, like, and this is a good one. This is a really good one. That the last Chinese mission, there was a 3-day hiatus.
Mm-hmm.
All right, they landed, been there for 2-3 days or so, and then there was this 3-day hiatus that nothing fucking worked.
Where it was just like dead satellite signals, or
that the for whatever reason the rover had quit working for like 3 days or quit responding or something. And 3 days later, it just cranks up and it starts moving again. Why in the fuck is the moon brown in their pictures?
Isn't it supposed to be white?
It's supposed to be.
But, well, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, what the fuck? Now, this could be just the ejecta area of a certain kind of comet that hit, and who the fuck knows? It's just an interesting question. What the fuck's up with that?
Well, they'd say that space is supposed to be actually brown instead of black.
Yeah.
So it wouldn't surprise me at all that the light bouncing off the moon would make it look white.
That I wonder about. I mean, there is a reason, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
The dust and all, but the whole idea about everything being brown has just got to do with the fact that it's collected junk. The average color of everything is brown when you go filter it out.
The space dust.
Yeah. But what fascinates me about, like I said, the Chinese mission is that it went on and you could actually see the track, they've drawn it out where it actually drove and all that. Well, I think it was the Japanese or somebody flew over and took pictures of that area. And it's really strange during that 3 days whenever the rover wasn't supposed to be moving.
Oh, fuck you, China. We're going to find out what you hear.
Exactly. There's this track that goes like north in the picture. And this is where it gets weird. Okay? Now, when you look at these pictures, where that track, the 3 day, and when they pick up after 3 days, their cameras are turned in such a way you can't see where they would have been.
Yeah.
But before that, they had pulled up, and there was these boulders sitting off, not too far off, but they were this weird fucking blue color. All right? Now, here's where the fucking conspiracy theory story gets fucking crazy and really fun, okay? The idea, and I've read it, and some guy they call this guy, Hoaxland.
Oh, Hoagland?
Yeah, Richard Hoagland. Bullshit or not, the motherfucker is interesting and he's entertaining to listen to.
Yeah.
Especially like when you go back and listen to the old Art Bells where he'd get really fucking excited.
Yeah.
And like Art was fucking, to get to the point he was like, goddamn near about to throw him off the show because it's like dealing with an ADD kid.
It's like when, I think it was a while back,
mm-hmm.
you and your sister were trying to show me something
mm-hmm.
like that y'all plainly saw, and I was like the fat guy in Mallrats. I was like, I can't fucking see it.
Oh, yeah. We're supposed to be, quote, artifacts on the moon and shit.
I was like, I can't fucking see it.
Which, yeah, he's got a theory on that. And it's kind of true. There is a large percentage of the population that cannot do 3D manipulation in their head. And, you know, I mean, I can picture shit in my head, turn it, flip it over. You know, you're modeling it in 3D inside your own mind. Some people have an inability. They just cannot do that. And that's why they have problem with pattern recognition. You know, why some people can look at this picture and say, hey, that looks like a fucking boat. Or that looks like whatever, you know?
I've never really thought about it.
Yeah. Yeah, and then some people are just Willem and never will see the sailboat.
Yeah.
They will never see that sailboat, you know?
What the fuck is it?
Well, getting back to his idea, is that he goes on, he's a big proponent that at one time there was these giant domes on the moon.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. And in the astronaut photos, you can see the remains of these domes in the background.
Oh, the clear domes.
Yeah. Well, he goes in this whole big write-up about it, that there's this one particular kind of mineral. I can't remember the fucking oglavine or some bullshit. I don't remember the exact name.
Unobtainium?
Pretty much.
Okay.
But that it's a blue-colored glass-like material, and that it has to be a certain thickness to withstand fucking meteorite impacts, to hold itself up, you know, and all this. Well, the whole idea is that these boulders laying out there that the Chinese supposedly went and checked out in those 3 days when their cameras were turned off.
Yeah.
They reflected the right wavelength to be this material, which is supposed to be like considered the perfect dome material. That story I always fucking love. That's a good one.
For the cracked domes and shit that they say that's on the moon?
Yeah.
Fuck.
Which, you know, like I said, it's just... to me, I read that stuff, and it gives me entertainment just same as a science fiction book.
Yeah.
Because, you could make some damn good fucking movies. You know, some of these ideas, if you run with them. Well, like, it's not the best movie, but an example, Mission to Mars.
Yeah.
You know, where they go and they see the face on Cydonia.
Yeah, and then that's the one where they have the liquid oxygen at the end.
Yeah. And it's based on that kind of shit too.
Yeah. Or you can go the exact opposite way with conspiracy theory movies and end up with Iron Sky.
Yes, Iron Sky.
Where you take the awesome idea that the Nazis escaped in a bell.
Yeah.
And landed on the dark side of the moon, started their own society.
Yeah.
Then went to attack Earth, and then they turned into a gigantic clusterfuck.
A fucking wannabe comedy.
And it wasn't even like a good comedy.
No, it's like
cheese comedy.
Yeah.
See,
it's the greatest fucking action story could ever be told.
Like the goddamn wrong, and you have the meteor blitzkrieg, which is fucking awesome. And then, which is something the Nazis would have actually done.
Yeah, if they could get Heinlein wrote the original Nazis on the Moon story.
Yeah.
And he wrote that one later to make a great one. The Moon is a Harsh Mistress. You know, where the colony on the Moon decides that it wants to be independent.
Yeah.
Yeah, and to fight the Earth off, they start throwing like old played out ore. Just throwing fucking
shit.
Yeah, just dropping fucking barges full of fucking moon rock on the Earth.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that one, you know what the whole purpose of that story was? What originally got them pissed off? Is that the people that live in the tube cities, they had to keep gathering all their fucking, their natural resources.
Mm-hmm.
And everything is recycled, reused, including grandma and grandpa.
Yeah.
Every tunnel is built by an independent farm family. It's a very libertarian story.
Mm-hmm.
And like when your family dies, you would be buried on your family's land to help it, enrich the soil.
Yeah.
Yeah, they would literally put grandma and grandpa in the composter and that section that's going to break down and be used in a few years to, feed the rest of the crops. Well, there's only a limited amount of water on the moon, trapped there in like small ice. Yeah. Right? Well, when they're shipping grain back to the Earth, they're not dehydrating it. They were shipping raw grain in the story.
Instead of dehydrating it and using the water for themselves.
Yeah. Oh. And that was part of the whole thing. They said, wait a minute, we're cutting our own throats by shipping this grain back to Earth. The only way we should do that is that if Earth returns the water and shit back to us.
Yeah.
And they wasn't going to do it because it cost too much to launch from the Earth to the moon. From the moon to the Earth is a very cheap trip. They were just using like a linear accelerator, like an electromagnetic rocket sled,
Yeah, something you don't have to push that hard to break.
Yeah.
The moons.
Yeah, Heinlein used a lot of those ideas, the early ideas. Like one of his first men to the moon stories, I'm pretty sure it was First Men on the Moon, the man that sold the moon.
Yeah.
They used a rocket sled up the side of Mount McKinley. Which would fucking do it, you know? Yeah. Why build a giant ramp when we got one fucking laying there not doing shit?
Fuck me, dude.
Yeah. That motherfucker ain't doing nothing but sitting there rumbling occasionally and fucking sweating water come spring,
Christ.
But yeah, dude, the Nazis on the moon story is one of the greatest out there conspiracy theories ever.
I told my grandmother that, and she, the same one that doesn't believe in that, that we landed on the moon. And she was more likely to believe in Nazis landing on the moon than Americans back in 1969.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it makes me think of that movie, Boys in Brazil?
Brazil.
About the Nazis that go to Argentina.
Oh, yeah.
Or not Argentina, but Brazil and that area.
Also, too, is the story that Hitler caught a ride on a U-boat and was going to go down to Antarctica.
He went to Argentina first, supposedly.
Yeah. They said that instead of going down to Antarctica, they dropped him off in Argentina.
Yeah.
And then that's when to make it look inconspicuous.
Yeah.
I guess his guards, some of the SS, were like, you get back on that fucking U-boat and you go to Brazil for the Fuhrer and you don't tell him fucking nothing. You were never here. Mm-hmm. And so that's why those, what was it, like 6 to 8 months after World War II?
Yeah, a few of them appeared on the coast.
Yeah, a few of them, they found that fucking U-boat off the coast. Holy shit.
Yeah. Well, the idea was that they'd smuggled him out, and there's even stories that the FBI, and there's some fucking paperwork, where they actually took this story in back in like the 50s or 60s.
Yeah.
That they were told a story, but it's secondhand, so they never followed up on it. Was that a guy reported to him that while down there in South America on some business thing that he had met Hitler at a fucking party.
That's fucking crazy.
Yeah, and he come back and told the FBI, and that, well, the whole idea of them, though, was that at the end of the war, they took the, what do they call it, the Glockenbell or whatever? Mm-hmm. Their ship.
Yeah, the ones that was supposedly took off from Antarctica.
Yeah, well, they built them supposedly in Poland.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that they carried them by U-boat or whatever, flew them down there and then met them in the U-boats and then built the fucking base, which is another good story.
Well, they were looking for the hollow earth down there as well.
Yeah, that was part of it. Yeah. And that there was supposed to be in 1954, that there was this big Navy mission that went to Antarctica, and it was a secret mission. Like, why did they send these fucking, like a battleship and all these destroyers, and that they believe that they were down there storming a fucking Nazi base.
Just to take care of the last of them?
Yeah. And steal what technology, that they had took with them. Yeah.
God.
Yeah, dude. I mean, you could spend hours fucking diving into that bullshit.
Just on the Nazi end of it, too, because, like...
Yeah.
They were really the last great, supervillain that we ever had.
Exactly.
On planet Earth. And so, like, we want their story to be bigger and badder than what it turned out to be, which was just some madman that was like...
Yeah.
Didn't try to drive his own country to the ground. Because I was watching a documentary of the Nuremberg trials.
Mm-hmm.
And one of his right hand men, which was that architect.
Mm-hmm.
What he was?
I've read that guy's book. I can't remember his Spiel.
I think so.
Yeah, I've read his book.
But he was talking about how it was. I think it was the last 10 days.
Yeah.
Within that time frame, that he wanted to go see Hitler in his bunker, and he wanted Hitler to surrender. And he said that he would tear Germany apart before that he would allow the surrender.
Yeah.
Because he was destined to pretty much destroy his own country.
Yeah. Well, have you ever heard the story that the skull taken back and given to Stalin?
Yeah, and he put it on his desk.
Yeah. Well, that supposedly the DNA is actually a woman. Yeah, that it's not his skull.
Pissed off Stalin. That's another reason why I went to the Cold War that a lot of people don't realize.
Mm-hmm.
Is that Stalin thought that we were harboring Hitler.
Yeah.
And Stalin hated Hitler so bad that if we were...
Yeah, he was going to start shit with us.
He was going to start shit with us.
Well, I'm going to be honest. Okay, if we had hid that son of a bitch, which this is not conspiracy theory, this is very true.
Uh-huh.
Operation Paperclip actually happened.
Yeah.
We harbored a fucking ton of Nazis.
If you're a scientist,
yeah,
fuck it, you're here.
Well, scientists, high-level engineers.
You're welcome, Von Braun. Motherfucker.
Yeah. Now, that actually happened. There's no arguing. That fucking actually happened.
No, because that's fucking in the record. And
yeah. But if we had actually have harbored Hitler or some shit,
there would have been no fucking reason to.
And Stalin had fucking jumped up and started a fight over that, I wouldn't blame him.
Yeah, I wouldn't either.
Because, think about it. He'd be like, no, my mission was to kill that son of a bitch,
Yeah, which we allowed.
Which would make for some great alternate history stories, wouldn't it?
If we harbored Hitler?
Yeah. You imagine the alternate history you could write from shit like that?
That means was it during the 50s and 60s when the American Nationalist Socialist Party started actually gaining ground?
Yeah.
And they fucking all of a sudden now here comes Hitler in behind the National Socialist Party of America.
Yeah. Well, I find it funny that when you look into that, they used to actually play his fucking speeches on the radio here. A lot of the shit that he got from us. Like eugenics come from us.
Yeah.
And hell, our damn one time the way that you fucking saluted the flag was you did the Roman salute.
Yeah. Which was
yeah, once he started doing it with his people though, we changed to putting our hand over our heart.
Yeah, and
yeah.
He said, well, all the history book says you got it from Mussolini.
Yeah.
So.
Which makes sense. Mussolini was based on Rome and yeah.
Which Mussolini's rise to power isn't as grandiose as what Hitler's was.
Well, I can tell you this, his rise to the fucking awning of a fucking gas station was pretty quick and severe.
But
they swung his ass like a ham, boy.
Yeah. Pretty much how Mussolini came into power was a whole bunch of empty threats with the I think they were called the brown shirts.
Yeah.
And the prime minister already turned over power to the fascists. And then to make it look like it was a tough thing, Mussolini and all of his guys fucking marched to the streets of Rome just as a dick showing contest.
Yeah, oh yeah. Well, here's my question about all of it. I'm serious about all of it. If you want to figure out who the fuck actually run the show, look back in time. Go back in time and figure out who paid for them fucking uniforms. I'm serious. In the early days when he's, they're gathering all this power, who the fuck was keeping the lights on?
Yeah.
You figure out who the fuck was keeping the lights on, that tells you who the hell was giving him orders to do shit.
At least for Hitler. I haven't read too much into Mussolini because he's just not fucking interesting.
No.
At least for Hitler, it was this whole society of German men who were pissed off at the Kaiser.
Well, they've been humiliated.
Yeah, they were pissed off at the Kaiser. They were kind of pissed off at the way that Germany had been done.
Yeah, they were half starving to fucking death because the economy's just in the fucking toilet.
And these were the upper crust guys.
Yeah.
The guys that, they were going to survive throughout the economic collapse anyway, but they had just been spit in the face of.
Yeah, well, they can't keep their fucking businesses going. They're probably falling back on their fucking reserve currencies. their gold, their silver, their land holdings, and
so they pretty much recruited. Well, Hitler kind of got invited into the society, and Hitler was super into the occult.
Oh yeah, that shit gets fucking bizarre, dude.
Yeah, looking for the holy the Ark of the Covenant and the Holy Grail at the same time. You're fighting a war on both fronts, and you're using your money to do this.
And supposedly did you hear the story about where he sent the people to? Oh shit, I can't remember the exact word, but they talked to the Buddhists
in Nepal.
Yeah, and the Buddhists showed them how to do things like supposedly levitate using sound and shit like that.
Yeah. And then
once again, that would make a fantastic fucking movie.
Fucking Himmler staying in like some of those dark castles with like the SS and shit.
Yeah.
Come on, guys. Come on.
Yeah. Well, you know yourself, something doesn't have to be real to get dumbasses to believe it.
Yeah. Like
and belief is all that matters. If enough people say that the Purple Grimace is God, and they keep following that idea, then as far as they're concerned, Purple Grimace is fucking God, and they will act accordingly.
Fucking Hamburglar.
Exactly, you know. Pope Hamburglar.
Speaking of super weird beliefs, we have Wiccans.
Oh.
that like to dance around a castle outside of the main town.
Oh my god.
Which these are people that you wouldn't want to see naked, and they get naked and they dance around bonfires outside of a fucking castle.
Yeah.
Which is pretty much medieval for putting the fucking foot down on fucking pagans.
It's just... Alright, I know we might piss people off. One thing, I don't like religion, but you can do whatever the fuck you want, right?
Yeah.
But once again, I reserve the right to fucking laugh at you for it.
Yeah.
And have you ever, in your life, honest to God, heard or had to deal with a fucking quote-unquote Wiccan?
I worked with a Wiccan.
Was it painful?
I never got into a conversation about it with her.
So you never had one that would like fucking just every time you turn around had to bring some of that shit up?
No.
Oh, you got lucky, dude.
Because like I guess I told her right from the beginning, and I was like, I don't like to call myself an atheist because I fucking hate that term. I think it's redundant.
Yeah, but I'm like my father. Up till he died, he said, "Look, I can't say yes or no because I've never been there. I don't know. I'll find out when I fucking get there."
See, my whole thing is I don't care enough. I don't fucking give a shit.
Well, the way I feel is I'm going to be a nice guy anyway. I'm going to be a good person at heart anyway. So it doesn't matter if there is, if there ain't, if it's karma, whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I don't know, man. I've had to deal with fucking Wiccans. I've read some of that bullshit. It is fucking ridiculous. It's a make it up as you go fucking religion, dude.
I would much rather deal with Wiccans like in Dungeons and Dragons than I would anything else.
Oh yeah.
I'd much rather just have it there than actually have to deal with real Wiccans.
It makes as much sense. I mean, it's, you know what I mean?
What the fuck? Who wants to play a druid?
Yeah. Nobody has ever played a druid. But I'm saying, if you ever had to deal with some of this shit, I read one of these books one time. I want to know what the fuck they were talking about. So I read this fucking book. And this stupid fucking bitch that wrote this book, she's going on about fucking praying to whatever goddamn nature spirit or what the spirit of whatever the fuck, right? And she, brings up in this book.
That's my God.
Well, this is
the spirit of whatever the fuck.
Yeah. Well, this was the section in the book where she said, and if you want spiritual guidance and wisdom and strength, and all this, why, you could say prayers to Yoda. That was the moment right there. It's like, well, I'm done with this shit. I swear to God, the bitch was talking about you could pray to Yoda. I'm like, well, Jesus, I've talked to Yoda when I was a kid, you know what I mean?
The silence
you had dreams,
my end. The silence comes from my end. It's from just sheer astonishment.
Yeah. Yeah.
That I could talk to Yoda.
Yeah. and it was just, the book suddenly, I mean, I was reading it first to see what the fuck they're getting at. Mm-hmm. And when I read that, I was like, okay, this is just past the realm of anything. This is now a fucking comedy magazine.
No one wants to fucking be a part of this shit.
Yeah.
Well,
hey, if you ever had to deal with somebody that every other word out of their goddamn mouth was blessed be, you'd want to smack them in their fucking nose. It'd be like dealing with Aunt Esther from fucking Sanford and Son.
Oh.
You know what I mean? Where she'd fucking go off on her religious thing.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, I was at work.
So above, so below.
I was at work.
Mm-hmm.
And I sold this woman $60 worth of shit.
Mm-hmm.
And then she proceeded to waste 20 minutes of my time to give me a lecture over Jesus and how the world was close to being ended.
Really?
Yeah.
What was her signs of the end time?
She wouldn't fucking tell me. But all I could think of was, I was just being nice, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, sell her some shit next time. And it was, oh God, if you're there, if you're real, please let me out of this situation.
Please help me, God. I'll suck your dick.
I'll suck your dick if I can get out of here.
Just let me get away from this bitch.
I gotta see fucking people. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm gonna try fucking Lunchbox's electronic cigarette fucking thing.
Yeah, you put that in your mouth, and then when you do, you hold down that button.
Well, I figured that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I was just looking at it. It looks like a goddamn lightsaber.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
And the little light thing glows green, so...
It's like a bong saber. You remember? You know? Where they turn it off and it fucking hit on it. That's too hard to fucking, It's too hard to judge.
It's not bad when you get used to it.
It's too hard to judge. Still tastes like marshmallows. Ugh.
I was in the vape shop buying it, dude. It was... Yet again, another culture that I don't get. I don't get hardcore stoner culture.
I don't either, man.
I don't get hardcore gaming culture.
Mm-hmm.
And there's apparently a culture starting around this shit that is just as bad as fucking stoner culture.
Yeah, where people are all focusing on what juices are you using.
Yeah. What's
your ingredients? What's your fucking heater element bullshit?
I was on GWARnet today because I was seeing when they're gonna have their next show.
People were going all full fedora over these things on GWARnet.
Dude, GWAR now has their own juice. Wait, no shit.
Was it like dead fish or something? You know,
I would hope.
Yeah,
because I think they have one flavor called Bloodbath.
They have one called dead penguins, from around their fortress down there in Antarctica.
Oh yeah. Which, if we're gonna go full crazy yet again, I should tell the lore of GWAR.
Well, yeah, but that's not really. Doesn't fit in conspiracy theory.
I was thinking about it the other night. I think it was last night actually. After you left, I started watching GWAR music videos, and I was thinking about in an alternate universe, everything that they have said and done is real. Okay. So that would mean that billions of years ago, on the planet Scumdogia, the GWAR got kicked off for eating too many chili cheese dogs and generally ruining the place. Then they were sent to Earth by the master of all space and time, simply called the Master. Okay. And they killed off all the dinosaurs and strung their gizzards across the Grand Canyon, where Beefcake the Mighty proceeded to play and create every song that would ever be written. That's why GWAR can never do a cover. So he was bouncing on a trampoline while playing or something? He was actually playing the dinosaur gizzards. Oh, he's playing. Okay, he made it a huge guitar. Yeah. Gotcha. So, after that, monkeys evolved. And they fucked them, creating the human race, which was their best and worst creation, of this pissed-off cardinal sin, who banished them to Antarctica, where they were frozen for thousands of years until the 80s, when people were using too much hairspray and they were thawed by that. Yeah, the hole in the ozone layer. Yeah, and whenever they need a new member, like when someone dies off and gets eaten or disintegrated, they just go down there and chisel one out of ice. There you go. Now, you know what would actually be a nice crossover? You take the guys from GWAR and you draw them as a cartoon.
tune back their suits a little bit, you know what I mean, where it makes a little bit more sense, like an animated form, you know.
Tone back gore.
I'm serious. Tone that shit back where it looks right, because it's just goofy looking. But anyway, put them on Metalocalypse. You know what I mean?
And have them like fight it out.
Yeah.
Gore would kick their ass.
Well, it'd be interesting to see, because Metalocalypse was supposed to be like the end-all, be-all fucking rock band, And
in Gore's universe, that's what they are. I think Metalocalypse kind of got some of their story from Gore. Maybe
Gore in the new Bill and Ted movie. It could be going up against Gore for who gets to control the future. Think about it.
Yes, Gore, yes.
Exactly, the Bill and Ted beautiful future, you know what I mean, with all the peace and love and understanding.
And then the Gore future, which is be the all-out war.
Yeah.
And feeding people to the space worm.
Exactly.
And being butt-fucked by the cuttlefish from Cthulhu. Which that's... Alright.
Oh, man.
So...
That is...
In the early 90s...
Wow.
Odorous Urungus had a giant penis-looking fish for a codpiece.
Okay.
And the Charleston, North Carolina Police Department arrested him for obscenity, and they lured him back to their police station, he says, to smoke some confiscated drugs. When Odorous was passed out, they cut his cuttlefish off with a laser saw, and Tipper Gore stole it for a while and used it.
Tipper Gore, huh?
Yep.
Oh my God, that bitch. Oh my God. Just be glad you didn't grow up in that fucking time period, dude. That was some retard, stupid shit.
Good night, Moon. Good night, fuck, shit, cunt, fuck.
Wait, I'm talking about the whole Tipper Gore. Fucking, oh my God, just Google the bitch. Google the bitch.
I'll have to sometime.
Yeah. Back to different fucking conspiracy theories, stuff that I've always got a laugh out of.
Uh-huh.
Years and years and years back, I'd say around 92, I remember going to the video store, and we found this nondescript looking fucking tape just sitting there on the shelf. It was, seriously, man, like a homemade tape somebody had just put in the fucking video store. And it was a photocopied cover that said excerpts from the government Bible.
What?
No explanation, just those black words on a tape. All right. I was intrigued. I opened that fucking thing up, looking, and it was like this home done cassette. And I remember taking it up to the counter, and they had no record of it. The only thing I could figure was that somebody had snuck that tape in and just stuck it on the shelf.
Yeah.
Yeah. Dude, and the woman, she said, we have no record of it, but you know what? I'm going to enter it in the database. She said, take it home. We didn't have to pay. She said, take it home, watch it, and if it's something actually worthwhile, bring it back and let us know. Know what it is.
Crazy, dude. What was it?
It is you can find it on YouTube now. It is Bob Lazar when he first went public doing what is that guy's name? He's a journalist for someplace out in Nevada, New Mexico, like for one of the TV stations.
Uh-huh.
A reporter. And he's the guy that broke Lazar's story. Supposedly, Bob Lazar supposedly worked at Area 51.
Yeah, that's the guy with the glasses that they,
yeah.
can ram now.
Do what?
They ram his story into the ground.
Well, they tried, but if you actually watch what he has to say, it's really interesting,
Because he was just supposed to be like, they say that it was supposed to be like some low-level engineer. And
yeah. Well, he talked about things, though, like Element 115, and then years later, the Russians actually invented it. Yeah. And, but his story, I mean, that tape just blew me the fuck away. I had never come across anything like that,
Craziness.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it was cool for a 17-year-old to find,
Yeah.
And I took it back to the video store, and I told him, and dude, it stayed on the shelf for a long fucking time. But he told some crazy fucking stories, about the ships that they were told to reverse engineer and, figure that kind of shit out. He told some crazy shit, dude. One of his stories was that when he was there, that he had been told about this firefight that happened under Groom Lake in these like caverns. And the whole idea was that like in 1954, Eisenhower had made a deal with the aliens that for an exchange of technology. And these are now going back even further. The Roswell crash supposedly happened because the atomic bomb was tested. There's almost a year's difference between the atomic bomb test and the actual crash.
The crash was like, holy fuck, what are they doing? Oh, shit.
Exactly. The idea was that, here's one of the ideas, was that the craft can travel space and time. Mm-hmm. If you have control over space, you probably have control over time. And that the explosion happened, they somehow winked out 1 year later. You know, I got the fuck away from it. And appeared in a thunderstorm, got hit, something happened, and they crashed. Well, then there's the whole story of the aliens and all that happy bullshit. You know, the wreck retrieval and all that. Well, that later there was contact. From this, there was contact between the two worlds. And that in 1954, Eisenhower was brought to some fucking airbase out in the middle of nowhere desert.
Yeah.
Right? And that a ship come down and landed. He climbed on board the ship for 10 minutes, got off, and then that was like, from that moment on, we had a treaty. And the treaty said for exchange of technology that they could abduct a certain amount of people every year for experiments.
Fuck me.
Yeah. And it goes on later. Lazar's story was that some of the same research aliens, you know, were at Groom Lake, right? And that there was a big misunderstanding that they were going to show off an anti-gravity, antimatter engine or some kind of shit. And that one of the soldiers refused to put down his weapon.
Yeah.
And it started a huge fucking firefight, you know, and that they fought it out there in the tunnels. I mean, his story is really fucking crazy. You know, it would make a great fucking movie, dude. Yeah. You know, yeah, George Knapp. That's the name of that fucking reporter. You know, that did his story.
Bob Lazar, shit. Everything I've seen about Bob Lazar has just pretty much been like, here's, you know, it shows him doing like the different conferences and shit. And then, like, it's different experts in the History Channel just slamming him.
Yeah.
Like what they always have. Or it's, the guys that are on the Ancient Alien show that go over the fucking top with him.
Yeah.
It's just like, oh, and this could be go back and prove him with this and it did that, and you're like,
well, then do it. Go back and prove it.
You have the little Mayan airplane thing.
Yeah, the pendants and stuff that they found.
That, you know, is an aircraft. That's neat as fuck.
Yeah.
But you tell me how the whole pyramid thing, they just lined up all the pyramids. Tell me how they did that.
Well, that's been explained in other books, you know, what all that's about.
But then fucking get on with it.
Yeah. That's one of the things I hate about them damn shows. They dick tease you and never get you off.
The quest for fucking Bigfoot.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
The quest for fucking Bigfoot.
The quest for the Gump Ape.
The quest for Gump Ape. Where...
You can't kiss me!
Where they take the giant fucking limbs and bang them against a tree.
Uh-huh.
To try to, like, lure out the Gump Ape.
Mm-hmm.
Or to try to get him to call back. And then, like, 5 minutes later, you hear, bang, 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 out in the woods.
Yeah.
The fuck, you're not going to go out there? You're going to stay there and you're going to keep knocking on a tree with the same piece of wood? Oh, no, don't tell anyone. It's probably the producers out there fucking banging.
Exactly, yeah. They just got some teenager out there beating on a tree, you know.
Yeah. It's the whole, oh, what was that? And every fucking search for Nessie thing and lock fucking Ness. Alright?
All them shows is nothing but they're redoing the fucking Blair Witch.
Yeah. Loch fucking Ness isn't that big.
Yeah.
And you can't find one plesiosaur?
Oh, there's a good story about that.
Really?
About what fucking Nessie's supposed to be. Alright. Is that, here's the idea. That there's underground tunnels that run under these mountains near Loch Ness, right? And these underground tunnels join up to the ocean.
Mm-hmm.
Well, at some point in the history, some type of eel, all right, come up into Loch Ness. Well, I can't remember when it was, like around 1900 or some damn time. They did blasting to make roads.
Uh-huh.
And the story goes that they probably collapsed the tunnels. So whatever is in Loch Ness got trapped. All right. Now, an eel would make sense. I could see where people would see the serpent shape, and, that makes fucking sense. But the story goes that these two guys, all right, that they saw a fucking eel come up out of the water and was so fucking big that it grabbed a deer and fought it and drug it back into the water.
What the fuck?
Yeah. Now, they supposedly took some pictures that they found one of the teeth. It had lost a tooth when it was going after this deer. And it's normal for these eels, to lose the giant teeth, right? Well, the story then goes, they took pictures of it, and I've seen the pictures, right? And some people come and basically stole it from them, government types.
Uh-huh.
But people have looked at it and says, if that is an eel tooth, and most eel teeth are shaped just like they show, right? That this eel would have to be like 25, 30 foot fucking long. You know what I'm talking about? They can scale it up from the teeth.
Yeah.
To me, that makes fucking sense. You know what I'm saying? It's a theory, but that is a believable theory, that it's an ancient eel. That for some reason, it's just a survivor over a couple of 100 years. It found its hidey hole and made Loch Ness its personal nest,
Why am I looking at this? I'm trying to find giant eels, and sea creatures are, to me, the most horrifying thing ever.
They are, dude. Yeah, it's supposed to be something like that, like a moray or something.
Fuck, I hate deep sea creatures.
You imagine one about 30, 40 foot long.
Fuck that, dude. I can't even look at a goddamn...
You have trouble just going into a fish shack. But yeah, that's one of the better Loch Ness stories I've heard,
So, now we're going to get into a fucking music story, because I was just on Paranormal.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Paul McCartney...
Oh, yes.
Died in 1969.
Or was it 66? I think it was 66. Yeah.
I don't remember.
Yeah,
in a car wreck.
Yep.
Pretty much because him and John got into a fight during a recording session, and he sped off angry in the rain after picking up a girl.
Yeah, he picked up a hitchhiker. She realized who he was and freaked out and started hugging him or something.
Yeah, which caused him to crash, I think, his white Porsche.
Yeah.
I think what it was.
Yeah.
And
I think it was a Porsche.
From then on,
or a Mini or something. I can't remember.
It was a convertible.
Yeah.
And that's where you get a Maxwell silver hammer from, because Maxwell was the MI6
agent
that was ahead of the case.
Yeah, that if they didn't go along with the game and cooperate with this contest winner, remember the Paul McCartney look-alike contest winner? Yeah, William.
That was all.
Well, that's a great story, though. That would make, once again, that could make a good movie.
It has made good movies.
Well, what I'm saying is, imagine an alternate world movie where they play it up like a what if.
Instead of the Rotten Apple conspiracy thing, or the Last Will and Testament of George Harrison.
Yeah, which are entertaining as hell. Yeah, if you haven't seen that documentary, watch it. I mean, I'm not going to say it's real. I'm not going to say it's fake. It's entertaining as hell.
See, that's one of the few things that I am willing to just come out and just say, I think it's fucking real.
You think it's real?
Yeah, I think that, Paul McCartney died.
Well, I'm going to say that I don't know. They make a good case.
Oh yeah, they make a damn good case.
Yeah.
And if it was to hold up in court, they'd be like, yeah, let's go ahead and do DNA testing, because I think it would really get that far.
Yeah. Yeah, I think at one point they wanted to DNA test his kids or something, and yeah.
Turn all that shit down. But all this was started because
well, he does look different in his pictures.
Yeah, it was started by two DJs up in Detroit.
Yeah, a guy called him or something on a call-in show.
Yeah.
And brought it up to him. You know, that was the first time one of them had heard of it, you know?
Yeah.
This caller brought it up. I don't know, man. I mean, there's there's some hellacious fucking stuff that people have presented. They show pictures of him, and yeah, there's
quite a huge difference.
Yeah.
In some of that.
Yeah, you know, maybe he got plastic surgery though, and he's just never admitted that he got plastic surgery for whatever reason.
That is true.
You know,
because like he was kind of more of the self-centered Beatle out of all.
Yeah. I don't know. I remember being told about that shit when I was a kid, and being showed the Abbey Road record and shown the clues and all that on it. You know?
See, I didn't find this out until I was like heavy in the Beatles when I was a teenager.
Really?
And I did it on my own while I was fucking around with backmasking. Yeah, I was just fucking around with backmasking one time.
Yeah. I actually did the thing with the actual records when I was young. I got told this when I was like 5.
Uh-huh.
And by the time I remember 10, 12, I can remember playing Beatles records backward.
Turn me on, didn't
Exactly, I've heard that. You know, actually spinning the record myself.
See,
you know?
I had a Gold Wave, and all I did was flip the entire thing.
Oh yeah, play backward.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So that was pretty fun.
Yeah. Like, so I just remember doing it, like I said, on real records and shit, and kind of getting in trouble. You know, my old man telling me, fuck up my goddamn Beatles records. What are you doing? You know.
But Paul McCartney is dead.
Yeah. It says, "Turn me on, dead man."
They're just so it could have been just John Lennon fucking with everybody too.
Mm-hmm.
Because he was like, in "How Do You Sleep?"
Mm-hmm.
He says those fools were right when they said you were dead. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, wouldn't it have been the greatest fucking marketing campaign ever?
Yeah, it would have been.
I mean, even true or not, back then you had everybody and their fucking brother suddenly going out buying these records. You know what I mean? Discussing the subject. When it comes to things like record sales and all that, there is no such thing as bad press.
Yeah.
You know?
Documentary entitled "Paul McCartney is Really Dead: The Last Will and Testament of George Harrison."
I tell you a story that you can look up. And it's something, it's just one of them weird little nuggets you find on the net.
Uh-huh.
There's this story of this guy who, I can't remember the way it leads into it. He had car trouble out in the desert or something. He's out way the hell removed from anything, right? And the guy comes and picks him up, gives him a ride back to his house or something, to get a tire or do some kind of shit, right? And he's inside the guy's living room, and he happens to look over, and that this guy had a whole wall full of just old school cassettes, all over the place.
Right on.
And he saw this huge list of fucking Beatles records. And he's like, oh, cool, the Beatles, Going through the list, he's like, got that. And he gets down to this one, and there's a Beatles record that he has never heard of. All right? And the guy supposedly had told him he had made a copy of a record. He could never get the record, but he made a copy of it at one point.
Yeah.
A friend had it. And let him have it, because he was saying, hey, I don't have this record. I've never even heard of this,
Yeah.
And the guy let him keep it. He somehow gets back, gets his car fixed, gets home, and he leads up the idea that he had visited an alternate world, had crossed over to another world at some point, and had brought back a fucking Beatles record that was never recorded in our timeline.
Well, is it out there somewhere?
Yeah, you can get the record. I mean, it's obviously, I think, somebody imitating them, but doing a damn good copy, Oh, Stephen King's got a good story. It's called, They Got a Hell of a Band.
Uh-huh.
And it's about these people that get lost and end up in this town out in the middle of fucking nowhere. And they stop at a bar, restaurant or something. And as they're in there, they notice, like, the waitress looks awful fucking familiar. And different people in the town look really fucking familiar. And then it suddenly strikes them like, wait a minute, that waitress bartender, that's fucking Janis Joplin. And then they look over and like, my God, that's fucking Jimi Hendrix.
Like they had walked into just like a 50s diner.
Yeah. And what it is that all the famous rock and roll people from all over the world and time had went to this this place for them that's like a heaven. But thing is, they can't leave, so it slowly turns into a hell, kinda.
Huh.
You know, and it talks about how, like, you know, they were setting up a band to play some music at that bar or whatever, and, you know, it's supposed to be like the greatest fucking rock band that could ever be assembled, you know? Like, so, Elvis on vocals, Hendrix on guitar.
Flea on bass.
Yeah. Well, it was everybody that was dead, you know?
Well, you gotta kill Flea real quick, so...
Oh, yeah. But, I mean, it's a damn good story. And once again, it'd make for, like, a good Twilight Zone episode.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You mentioned that Japanese guy from the Middle Ages.
Oh, yeah, that's another good story. Okay, there's this science fiction short story. Mm-hmm. And the idea was that the conspiracy theory of it was that this short story was supposedly based on a real story or something.
Yeah.
Okay. And once again, completely unprovable, would make a great film.
Yeah.
The idea is that back in the 1600s, fucking England, this mysterious guy appeared out of nowhere. And turns out he was an Oriental.
Right on.
Yeah, he couldn't speak the language or nothing, and something was wrong with him. So the local peasants took him to the nobleman. And the nobleman put him up in his house, had doctors come look at him, and, you know. And over a course of a week, the man's hair started falling out, and he began to, like, fucking puke blood and just getting sick and dying.
Ugh.
And his teeth fell out, and that they found him finally dead, laying on the floor, and he had scratched into the wood trim around the door. He had took one of his own teeth and scratched into it. And that for years and years, they just had it, like, copied what was written on that. They didn't know what it meant.
Yeah.
And that later there was a translation. And that it was a Japanese man's name and the word Hiroshima.
So,
and the idea of the story is that one of the people that was actually at ground zero in Hiroshima, that was supposed to be this guy.
That he got pretty much vaporized and sent back to the past.
Yeah, he got time traveled and moved in space. You know, space and time.
Fuck.
Yeah, and ended up in fucking not medieval fucking Europe, but yeah, 1600s fucking England, you know?
Crazy.
That would make a good fucking, like I said, a Twilight Zone or something like that.
Fucking Twilight Zone, dude. A lot of shit get into will just turn into fucking Twilight Zone, like fucking terrors in reality, space-time and shit, of like just wasn't it here in Tennessee where those people went missing? Out of the blue, went fucking missing, and they think that that it was a terror reality that they fell through.
Or
it was like a scout trip.
I think I know the one you're talking about. It sounds familiar.
It was.
I mean, the story sounds familiar.
It was supposed to be. I think it was near Knoxville.
Yeah.
And they were on this fucking hike in the woods around the Smokies, and it was an adult and I think 2 or 3 children just disappeared.
Makes you wonder, you know?
Yeah, like they couldn't find any bodies. They couldn't find fucking nothing. Like they weren't carried off by anything.
I guess it's possible, couldn't it? I mean,
and it was like they found like magnetic disturbances and all kinds of crazy shit around that area.
Oh yeah, yeah. It's like that weird ass magnetic house or whatever they call it, Magnetic Hill in Oregon. Well, the house where all the angles are all fucked up and it disorients you when you go into it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. They claim it's gravitational disturbance and. No, it's like, no, it's perspective tricks.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. And, well, it's like the people were all freaked out when the roads and shit that would pull your car back up a hill. Yeah. And they found out later on that most of those, there's more than one, because there's one in fucking Union City.
Oh, yeah, Magnetic Hills.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a lodestone in the ground.
Yeah.
It's magnetized and will pull your car.
I'm trying to remember where it is. Not the one in Union City, but there's another one out near Cydonia.
Yeah.
That's supposed to be like that, because I remember going out there, And I saw the car fucking move, but once again, I was not there with a spirit level, like a carpenter's level, looking at the lay of the land, and I'm sure it was rolling downhill.
Yeah.
Even though it looks like it's uphill,
Yeah.
Yeah.
But there's a fucking hill somewhere in up around Kentucky Lake that does the exact same shit.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just magnetic lodestones.
It's possible. I don't see why they couldn't. If you had like maybe where an old ocean was depositing huge amounts of fucking iron.
Yeah.
The coral or whatever's dying and releasing its iron into the water, it's all just building up. Why in the fuck couldn't you have some kind of magnetic disturbance there? Because, like you said, it's a big fucking magnet,
I watched a whole documentary, because, like, there's always, like, stories tied to those hills. Like, children died in this place, and it's their spirits, trying to save you from the car.
Oh, yeah, the bus that got hit by the train and all that bullshit. Yeah.
Well, there was a story like that similar over there in England. It's like, there's a whole fucking big thing.
Mm-hmm.
And this was one of the few times fucking History Channel carried through with it all the way.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they took the ground penetrating radar,
mm-hmm.
and they found the giant fucking iron rock underneath the fucking earth. I was like, yeah, right, fucking cased, closed, myth busted.
Exactly.
We can all go the fuck home, and you can just go outside and play and go fuck yourself.
Yeah. Well, still, it'd be a cool place. Like, once you know that there is a fucking giant magnet there, what kind of weird stuff can we do in this area just for fun?
The little, like,
like build a giant...
using Crossfire.
Mm-hmm.
Just
little
go
ball
to
bearings.
Little metal bearings, like magnetic metal bearings. Go out there in one of those hills.
Mm-hmm.
Just dump all of them on the road and see what happens.
Well, what about if you took your time and built like a giant 10-foot compass? And took it to one of them places where there's a magnetic field. That way you could just trip people's fucking minds by watching a 10-foot compass fucking dance,
I think most people nowadays are like, what's a compass?
Yeah. Can I get it on my phone?
Is there an app for that? Dude, fucking GPS. And if your GPS is like fucking 8 years old.
Yeah.
And not built into the car that you're driving, sometimes the GPS can't even tell it what your vehicle's pointing. Like, you're backing up and it's like, are you facing this way? Are you facing that way? Are you facing that? Are you facing that way?
Well, you've heard those stories where like people would follow the GPS and either end up in the middle of the desert, like stranded, or they drive off into a fucking river or a lake or something.
Dude, there's been sometimes following my GPS where it was off.
Mm-hmm.
Like someone was like captured GPS location in the wrong spot, and it would be. Here would be the house. On down the fucking road is where GPS location is captured. There's no one near the fucking side of the road. There's no one fucking there!
But it's screaming at you, turn right, turn right.
Turn right. At next possible, or make U-turn. No. There's sometimes the fucking shit will take you to the next town over. Just go all the way back out to a little fucking country that's close to the town that you were in the first place.
Yeah, fuck that. That's why I was arguing at one time. Get a fucking almanac, a fucking road almanac.
Google goddamn Maps.
Yeah, something.
Google goddamn Maps has the best GPS system that's ever fucking made now.
I got a GPS conspiracy for you.
Okay.
That lately, did you ever hear how the Census Bureau, all right, they were going around, they want people to fill out fucking questionnaires, and people don't seem to realize that you have a very limited amount of info that you're required to give.
Yeah.
It says it in the Constitution, basically your name and how many people fucking live there.
Yeah.
Other than that, they can go fuck themselves, all right? Well, they're going around, and the idea is that the reason that one thing they're doing is they're coming up to people's doors with GPS units that would track where is everyone's front door.
Huh.
Yeah. So when you come and give answers, they're tracking that you live here, this person lives here, and all of them can be found at these coordinates. Yeah. And, it's part of that whole, it gets into that whole FEMA camp, fucking prison train. You know what I'm talking about, martial law fucking thing,
But that... Doesn't the mail service already knows where you live?
Well, you would hope.
Yeah.
You would hope, yeah.
Doesn't the fucking U.S. mail service already know where you live?
You would hope they do.
Like,
So I've had them lose enough fucking packages that I wonder.
Fuck.
Yeah.
Dude. Oh, fuck, no.
Well, on a side note, the U.S. Postal Service isn't fucking constitutional anymore. Because Nixon fucking got rid of that shit. What was it, 72 or 74? The Postal Union had went on strike, bitching about the fucking, I don't know, the level of work or whatever the fuck. But Nixon got a fucking bug in his ass and said, all right, fuck the Constitutional Postal Service. I'm shutting you down. You're now a private fucking corporation. And that the modern Postal Service is a private fucking company.
Huh.
Yeah. And, I asked the guy that went up here in town that time, this dude, they were talking about closing up the post office, and they fucked our hours up. So much is hardly ever open anymore.
I haven't seen it open in the past 3 months when I fucking needed it.
Yeah, it's open like fucking 9 to 11 or 12, some bullshit. Not enough time to amount to shit.
No.
Well, they brought this fucking guy who's supposed to be like regional manager over this fucking area, and that motherfucker was not listening to a goddamn word anybody had to say.
Ever.
He was appeasing everybody, dude. Oh, don't worry, we're not going to close your post office, and we really want your input, and fill out these surveys, and you know what I'm talking about? And I brought up to him, I actually asked him that, I said, man, you don't actually have to listen to what we have to say. I said, you're a private corporation. Is this true or not? And he said, well, and I said, did Nixon or did not Nixon create a fucking private postal service and replace the constitutional fucking postal service? Did he or did he not do that? And the guy was like, well, yeah, but, and then you can see it, dude. He was like mercury being stepped on. He wanted to squirt in every fucking direction. You know what I mean? You could see it. And it was so funny when I brought that kind of shit up. The whole fucking crowd went from all like general questions to rabble. I mean, the meeting just busted the fuck apart, dude. It fell apart right at that fucking point, And all I was doing was just bringing up the fact, you're a fucking private company. You really don't give a shit. You're here to kiss our ass and tell us what we want to hear.
Well, you're also one, too, that just likes to stir the pot.
Sometimes.
Whenever it's funny as shit.
Well, yeah. And there's sometimes that the pot needs to be stirred. Yeah. Yeah. I bet most of these people that are up at that meeting had no fucking clue about that shit.
Probably not.
Yeah. And that man's reaction, I think he looked, he was like, oh, fuck.
Vic.
We've got one that can see.
They live.
Yeah. Well, it's like when I was in school, and they brought that fucking trailer at time, this fucking recruitment bullshit. And they were bringing us up in that damn trailer like 20, 30 at a time, right? And we're getting the propaganda speeches and G.I. Joe, all that bullshit.
G.I. Joe.
Yeah. And the fucking captain, he made this statement. And I think he was a captain. He was an officer of some kind. Anyway, he made the statement that this was the safest army that has ever been in existence. And as soon as I heard that, the safest army, ooh, call on me, hand in the fucking air, He calls on me. And I just had to ask him, I said, if this is the safest army that's ever been in existence, then tell me why it is that a 12-year-old child with 5 minutes of training can knock out a $60 million tank.
Ah.
Yeah, it was a A 12-year-old child with 5 minutes training on an RPG could knock out a $60 million tank. The fucking guy gave me that funny look, and it was like, die fuck, you know?
How do I answer this?
Yeah. Dude, he didn't even bother answering. He just kind of went to the next fucking person. And as we're getting ready to leave, all right, he turns to this woman who was obviously being trained to do this shit, right? And he turned around to her, and I heard him fucking say it. It's the ones like him that you have to watch out for. And dude, I couldn't hold it. I turned around to all my buddies. Did you hear that? You know, he said it's people like me you have to watch out for. I saw through the bullshit.
Oh, Christ.
Yeah. But yeah, like I said, the conspiracy stories, you know, I could honestly sit and discuss that shit all night, dude. I have heard so many fucking good ones, you know?
Well, they're now like our folklore and our legends, since like we don't have.
Yeah.
Oh, besides fucking the scary stories or campfire stories are gonna stay around forever.
Yeah.
But
yeah, Freddy Krueger will forever be now the boogeyman.
Yeah.
It's established. He is the boogeyman.
Or Slender Man, or for more modern terms.
Well, yeah, but I guarantee you, though, even in this day and age, all these kids that listen to, you know, they come up with this Slender Man creepypasta bullshit.
Yeah.
I guarantee you, if they have had access to a Freddy Krueger movie, or to actually sit around a campfire and hear somebody telling the story of Nightmare on Elm Street as a story,
but
you know, he's the boogeyman.
I see it as like a folklore and a legend, and it's also something to think about for quite a bit of it. Just kind of like sift through it and be like me with the whole Paul McCartney thing.
Yeah.
Like, I feel I've seen enough evidence to where I think this is legitimate.
Or at least there's something here that should be looked at.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, the fact that people, to me, it's also people's reaction to it. Like, Paul McCartney reacts himself to it.
Yeah.
Like,
and the jokes he put, like, in one of his newest albums.
Yeah.
You know, where he fucking comes out and pretty much fucking says it. Yeah.
Wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
Yeah.
But, yeah. You have to find your own truths, and you can't blindly believe everything that's fucking set out there in front of you, and that's from any fucking source.
Huh.
So.
Well, like I said, some of these stories are just so entertaining, man.
Yeah.
I mean, if like I said, 1 in 1,000 has a grain of truth, maybe, you know.
Yeah, and it's those things that you kind of gotta. It actually sparks the human imagination and makes us think for once instead of just being spoon-fed information all day.
I mean, look for how many years, dude. How many years was the Gulf of Tonkin a set-in-stone fucking fact?
Yeah.
Oops. Gulf of Tonkin was completely set up. It's complete bullshit. You were lied to.
Yeah.
It's fucking true. It's admitted, you know. And if that's true, well, maybe 1 in this 1,000, this big pile of 1,000 crazy fucking stories, one of these might be fucking true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe we really do have a new moon Nazi problem.
Yeah. Yeah.
Gotta send up a Skynet Terminator up there to go and root those bastards out.
Well, there is a few of them that I'm willing to. I'm not going to say I believe anything. Mm-hmm. I'm not going to say I believe in anything. However, all I can say is that there was no magic fucking bullet. All right? I have spent a lot of time studying it, and that's as far as I'm going to go. There was no magic fucking bullet. You know? To sum up the movie, it was a crossfire back and to the left.
Crossfire?
Yeah. What was the name of that rifle that one guy supposedly used? The Fireball?
Yeah.
Yeah. Fired the 223. It was a new round then, and yeah.
I think before we get.
Oh yeah, we're that right there. That is a whole fucking show unto itself.
Yeah, that's better saved for
later.
Yeah.
Because seriously, that is one of those stories. That's at the realm of the rabbit hole. when you start looking into that story and you start sliding down that hill of that story, that is the entry into the fucking rabbit hole. That's where a lot of people fall in. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and they go full-blown Dale Gribble.
Exactly. Yeah. Dang old black helicopters and such.
Yeah.
Which is another one.
Holy fuck.
No. For years, now hang on now. For years, people used to laugh at the concept of the black helicopter. Mm-hmm. I remember hearing people laugh. Ho, 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 black helicopter. And I look up. I'm in my fucking yard. I look up and I see the 101st Airborne flying over my house. What fucking color are those helicopters?
Black.
They're black. Now, technically, they're painted dark gray. But that's black. You know what I'm saying? In the sky, it's dark. And for years, there's no such thing as black helicopters. No such things as black airplanes. Motherfucker, I have seen them fly over my house. I have had the 101st Airborne Night Stalkers. All right, this was 99. It was somewhere up through there, all right?
Yeah.
I lived out here at the edge of town. They flew over my fucking house one night. It was so foggy you couldn't have seen 5 foot in front of your face. All I hear is like coming over the fucking house.
Motherfucker!
Yeah. I run outside, look straight up, and here comes a fucking Apache gunship. Dude, right over my fucking trees.
Yeah.
I bet you, I'm serious, I'm not 50 foot away from this Apache gunship flying over my fucking house. He comes over my house, jumps the trees, right? Goes down below tree level over this fucking field. And I can see his lights. He actually had his fucking landing lights and bullshit on. You know, his position lights. I could see the glow and shit in the fucking clouds. And I see him go out, and the way that I watched them fucking lights hop, he jumped the fucking tree line. Those motherfuckers are made to operate at night, you know what I'm talking about? In black helicopters. They train to come and drop troops down and snatch people. They did it in fucking the Gulf Wars. With the terrorists. These motherfuckers would come in, either bomb the fuck out of the place, they'd come in, drop off the fucking troops, the troops would grab people, the bad guys, yank them out, Guantanamo Bay their ass, right? But the shit in the past that was laughed at. There is no black helicopters abducting people. There isn't, and what the fuck are they doing over in Iraq? You know? Sorry.
And I think on that note, we're going to go ahead and wrap up this very different episode of the Generation Gap.
Oh, yeah.
Holy Christ.
We got to do this again, like, go into some other stories and, you know.
Maybe we should do it like once every 10 episodes.
Yeah, just every once in a while.
Just kind of go off the deep end a bit, but I'm going to plug a little bit of what's going to be happening next Saturday.
Oh, yeah. It was supposed to happen this weekend, wasn't it?
No.
Oh, you think? Oh, yeah, I'm thinking of...
Sick Nasty.
I'm thinking about him coming over and guesting.
Yeah, which it's also supposed to happen next weekend.
And we shall see.
We shall see with his fucking ass. But, next weekend, Gleek hates it. Gleek hates it with a passion.
I do.
Mad Max Fury Road is going to be coming out. Oh. And we're going to marathon all day. Mm-hmm. Watching the 3 Mad Max movies. Mm-hmm. And then we're going to go to the theater and watch this movie and...
cry uncontrollably.
I got to be consolable so that I can drive. So.
Oh my goodness. I want to see it. I've waited 30 fucking years. I've waited 30 years. I've got to go see it. Even though I know I'm going to be disappointed.
I hope not.
Well... there's been so much of that where I got disappointed. I got disappointed with the fucking Star Trek remakes, alright? Lost in Space remake fucking pissed me off, dude.
Yep.
I went to go see Lost in Space, and I'm like, yay, like the old show. It's gonna be campy and fun, and oh, it's that dude from Friends. And the monkey pushes the button. God damn it.
Pretty badass Misfits song came out of that, though.
Oh, yeah?
Called Lost in Space.
Huh?
Yeah. Michael Graves Misfits.
Okay.
I'm just trying to get off the subject of super fucking
terrible movies.
Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah.
We're going to go ahead and wrap this thing up. I've been Lunchbox.
I'm Gleek.
And we'll catch you next Saturday. Possibly, or Sunday. Whenever it comes.
We'll figure it out.
Yep.
Talk to you then, folks.
You can reach the Generation Gap podcast on our Twitter page at PicklestickPod or shooting us an email at picklestickproductions@gmail.com.
You can also find us on Stitcher.